Hi, I'm just back from seeing Deadpool and Wolverine, the latest Marvel Cinematic Universe film, finally bringing in characters from the 20th Century Fox stable who'd been shepherds of the X-Men, Deadpool, Fantastic Four, um, and many other characters over the years. It sees Wade, the immortal, wisecracking assassin, now at a different point in his life, having apparently given up the mantle of Deadpool when he's enlisted by the TVA, the Time Variance Authority introduced in the Loki TV series, who police the various offshoots of the sacred timeline. He has to save his own timeline and all his friends, and enlists thus the assistance of Wolverine. Despite having died at the end of Logan, an alternative version is enlisted, and they go on a reality bending quest to a sector of space time where the last vestiges of pruned timelines still survive. Um, if you've seen the previous Deadpool films, then it's very much of a piece with that. There's lots of wisecracking, there's a lot of violence, there's a lot of gore, there's a lot of swearing, there's a lot of adult content, there's a lot of fourth wall breaking and leaning on. Particularly helpful here when we have the idea of the pruned timelines as characters from other versions of Marvel movies. So there are cameos as people expected. I won't say what they are, but it means that there are further jokes about people having particular particular dead end careers and that kind of thing. Um, some of the actors play up um, their presence for humour, others play it deadly seriously, and it varies quite a lot. It's difficult to talk about the film without going into spoilers, but uh, it wasn't great. It was good. Um, the film makes a joke right at the start about how they're deliberately not going to tread on the ending of Logan that had such a terrific ending and such a perfect conclusion to that story and almost raised the standard of the other X-Men movies. Um, it is more of a coda to that, bringing in a different version of Wolverine. And it's overall very much an epilogue to the Fox Marvel universe of their various iterations and characters. And there is actually a mid-credit sequence, which this isn't a spoiler because it's not in story, is a montage of clips and behind the scenes material from all the Fox Marvel movies, and looking back and uh, being an affectionate retrospective. There is another uh, post-credit scene which doesn't seemingly connect to any of the other movies. It's more of a joke, but it's notable that this isn't connecting to the rest of the MCU. It's not bringing Deadpool into the the rest of the characters or making him one of the Avengers. It's very much concluding this particular era of Marvel movies, rather like Endgame did. It's almost like the end game of the Fox Marvel movies. Um, on those terms, I think it works rather well, but it does still feel a bit too shallow. Deadpool is so flip and so um, irreverent a character that it's hard to inject weight into that to make this feel like it's the end of an era. So partnering him with Hugh Jackman, I think, gives it a bit more weight and a bit more balance, but it's still not quite there. We have a strong villain in Emma Corrin's Cassandra Nova, who I think works very well. There's fun support with Matthew Macfadyen as a senior member of the TVA who sends Wade on his mission, and there's entertaining material throughout. Um, but it's on a level with the first two Deadpools. They're they're good movies, and this is good, but they're not great. And the level of hype this has had, because oh, I finally get to see Wolverine in the yellow costume. Oh, I finally get to see him, as he is in the comic books. Well, if that matters to you, then great. But if you're a member of the public or not a hardcore Marvel fan, it doesn't mean very much. And there is an attempt to give that a bit more weight within the movie. But it doesn't necessarily follow through. Shawn Levy, who directs, is not the most natural director. I don't think he has a single dramatic film on his CV. Um, and I did find the film's plot quite hard to follow because there's so much toing and froing. There are so many characters, there's so many twists and turns, and a lot of it, the time, it's things happening for the sake of story, or rather, things happening for the sake of jokes, rather, and not story. Um, and so the film feels a little cluttered, a little unclear. There are things that felt odd, like the location filming used for The Void, which is supposed to be this desert wasteland, which is described in dialogue as being like Mad Max, but is also partially filmed on location in Norfolk. So we get rolling countryside after having had uh, desert wasteland as blasted landscape. And it doesn't really make a lot of sense. If you don't think about it, I think it's great and it's good entertainment. And I certainly enjoyed it. It's by no means a bad film, but again, it's on a par with the first two Deadpools. The first one is good, the second one is better. This is, I think, between the two, closer to the first and the second. Um, but this is the only Disney released Marvel film this year. The last was The Marvels, which was noticeably a bomb. The next is Captain America Brave New World, which isn't released until February. And that's had a bit of a troubled life. It seems to have been in production and shooting, in fact, for over a year with extensive reshoots and a bit of an unproven lead. So where we go from here, I think, is still quite a lot up in the air because this is not a new beginning. This is really just another ending.